I'm sorry for laughing. I'm sorry for laughing. This is like the first thing I do always whenever I start my stream. But if you guys noticed, yes, there was like a flickering stripe with like I couldn't decide if I wanted the stripe. First of all, I didn't turn on the stripe like at the top of the screen with either fun facts or my Patreon. And then I turned it on and I couldn't decide which one. I was just like, oh, let me just turn on fun facts. And then I was just like, no, wait, I have fun facts on the other screen. Let me turn on the Patreon stripe. And then I realized, no, wait, I'm wrong. So like, never mind. Why am I this way? Why am I this way? Also, hello, hi. If you're new here, welcome. I'm FEARSONA. You can call me Sona, and I'm your friendly neighborhood true crime VTuber. Here to give you full body chills and make you confused and just make you question your life choices when it comes to YouTube channels, because yeah, this is gonna be scuffed. This is a live stream. It will be scuffed 100% of the time. And please remember to follow the rules of the chat so that, you know, mods can enjoy the stream. Don't give them a hard time. Also, I do have a question. How do you guys convince, like, the saga of my grandparents being stubborn continues. How do you convince someone, how do you convince an elderly person to go to the hospital? Because maybe, just maybe, they cut their finger pretty bad. They cut off their fingertip pretty bad. And suspiciously, they developed a fever. Which, yes, this is regarding my grandpa. He kind of developed a fever. And my mom is trying, I mean, it doesn't seem so bad, but I'm definitely concerned. And I mean, I hope it's not serious. My mom says like, oh no, he caught a cold. I'm like, does he have any other symptoms than the fever? And she's like, no, he doesn't. I'm like, well, just go to the hospital. Tie him up if need be. And cuff him to the bed if need be. And call an ambulance, because holy shit. I mean, it seems to be okay, as in the finger is okay. I'm just concerned that it might have developed an infection, and I hope, well, I mean, I definitely, you know, yelled at them a little bit over the phone, and I was just kind of like, go to the hospital. And they said like, okay, well, if it gets worse, we're gonna go to the hospital. I'm like, can you just go? Why? I don't understand. I cannot understand this. Like, why? My grandpa is just so stubborn. I mean, I hope it's not gonna get worse, and hope it, you know, grandpa's all right. And but Jesus, I would like tie him up yesterday and just bring him to the hospital. Because why? My grandma was in the hospital because she was having heart problems. She threw a fit because the food wasn't good, and they sent her home. What? I mean, yeah, I can see. No, my grandpa and grandma are like polar opposites. My grandma absolutely fucking loves going to the hospital. Like every other day, she's just like, oh, well, I peed one more time, like more than, I don't know, like more than usual, like by one time or something. Also, Joshua, thank you so much for being a member for 3 months. Trick him and tell him we're going for ice cream. I think he would be tricked. The funny part is like, I think he would be tricked. I think he would believe me. But yeah, like my grandma is like, she goes to the hospital every other day. Like literally her doctor told her, nothing's wrong with you. I don't have anything to give you. I don't have anything to do for you because you're healthy. Like you're fine, go home. And she comes back to the hospital every other day saying like, oh, I peed more than 3 times today or something. She's like, isn't that too much? Meanwhile, my grandpa is the opposite. So he could, I'm pretty sure, I can like 85% sure that if he cut off his arm, he would just be like, oh, I'm fine. Just wrap it up. It's fine. It's gonna grow back. Or I don't know. I can work with one arm. It's fine. I mean, I hope he's gonna go to the hospital. I hope, or, you know, I hope that it's just, yeah, like it's just cold and he's not, you know, this is nothing serious, nothing more serious, and he's gonna be okay. You had to get your stubbornness from somewhere. I mean, yeah, I'm not a quitter. I'm also stubborn. A little bit. Like just a little bit. I'm not like super stubborn, but yeah, I might take after my grandpa. Although no, that's true. Oh my god, that's so true. Oh my god. Yeah, like I don't like going to the hospital. Like I'm trying, like I don't defy, like I'm not like super defiant. Like if I have to, if something's really happening, like I'm gonna go. Yeah. Shit. Called out. Caught in 4K. Oh damn. Okay. But we're not talking about me. Wait a minute. You definitely take after him, eh? Wait. I'm okay. Okay? We're not talking about me. This is not about me. This is about my grandpa. Well, it's just like, oh, it's concerning, you know, he developed a fever and I wanna make sure that they don't like, you know, disregard it and just stay home. But yeah, hopefully. Okay, how are you guys doing? I hope you're having a good day because I am about to ruin it for you with these videos. Some videos that seem normal, seem not like nothing is serious, but then they have a very disturbing backstory, and we're gonna talk about it right now. Let me just change the music. Let's go. Let's do this. So I don't know if you guys know about this, but last month marked the 10th anniversary of the sinking of MV Sewol in 2014, which stands as one of South Korea's most tragic maritime disasters. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Sewol was a ferry and was this boat and it sank and it was like a huge tragedy. So the incident unfolded on April 16th, 2014, so it's been a month from the 10th anniversary, when the ferry capsized off the southwestern coast of South Korea. And I'm gonna play for you one of the videos that was shot, well, I mean, yes, like a couple of videos that were shot, it's kind of a compilation, but they were shot by the passengers, the high school students that were stuck on board of this boat, and they were actually told not to move. And well, it didn't end too well. We're gonna talk about it in depth in a minute, but I'm gonna play you the one of the videos. Take a look.
야 여기 만약에 야 나 진짜 죽는 거 아니야? 이거 상황이 아니야 이거 실제라고. 야 누구 구명조끼 좀 꺼내라. 아 뭘 꺼내? 됐어. 야 조용아. 우리 뒤지기 싫다고. 밖에 입었어? 밖에 애들 안 입었는데? 밖에 애들 안 입었어. 야 근데 지금 밖에 상황 베란다에 나와 있는 애들 상황을 몰라. 꺼내와. 아 이거 왜 선장은 뭐 하길래. 야 이거 뉴스 뜬다. 야 내가 확실히 100% 한다. 이거 뉴스 뜬다. 안 떠 이건 뭘로? 아니야 침몰 안 하면 지금 침몰하는데? 엄마 사랑해요. 아빠 사랑해요. 둘 다 사랑해요. 이게 뭔 상황인지 모르겠어. 구명조끼 입으라는 거 침몰되고 있다는 소리 아니야? 아 진짜 바다로 뛰거든. 아. 야 애기까지 미치겠다. 아 실제 상황이야. 구명조끼 더 줘.
So the video, I couldn't find the video fully translated, so I only found some parts of the video translated. Some of them were not translated. You saw that the students are kind of, the student that is filming, he says, you know, like, oh, we shouldn't be laughing because this is not a laughing matter. The boat, is the boat sinking? Are we gonna die? Some students are laughing, so like at first it seems pretty hard, like lighthearted. They are kind of talking about like, oh, you know, this is so funny, but you know, is it gonna sink really? But you know, they're laughing, so they're not treating this seriously. And in the background, you can kind of hear the announcement saying like, oh, stay put, like it said, stay put, take your put on your life jackets and just stay where you are. Some teachers, in one part, I remember, like, there's a part where they say, the teacher says, like, oh, don't move, it's dangerous to move. And you can see in the video that the boat is, you know, it is tilted, it is tilting, so the students are kind of sitting on the floor. They're trying not to move around because they might, like, slide off and, like, really hurt themselves. Well, at least that's what they were thinking, that they shouldn't be moving. But this is actually one of the biggest tragedies, and it enraged the whole nation, and I'm gonna explain why, because it was such a mess and it was so incredibly sad. I saw, okay, I need a moment, because I know it sounds like I'm pretending. I'm not pretending, because like, I don't want to laugh, I don't want to, like, cry, but I saw a lot of videos. I'm not gonna show all of them because some of them are just not, I can't watch them again. But there are videos of parents, there are videos. It was so infuriating. Let's talk about this. So MV Sewol was a ferry operated by the company Cheongjin Marine Company. The ferry primarily served the route between Incheon, which is a port city near Seoul, and Jeju Island, a popular tourist destination. And on the day of the incident, the Sewol was carrying 476 passengers, including high school students, mostly high school students, on a field trip, along with crew members, along with teachers, and several other people, like just unrelated people to the school trip. So Sewol departed from Incheon on the evening of April 15th, 2014, with the intended destination being Jeju Island. However, tragedy struck the following morning. As the ferry made its way through the waters of the southwestern coast of South Korea, it encountered difficulties. Investigations later revealed that the ferry was overloaded with cargo, including hundreds of tons of additional freight improperly secured on the upper decks. This also combined with modifications made to the ship that raised its center of gravity, basically compromised its stability, because as you can see, like, there were additional cabins or additional floors. 2 floors were added to the ship, to the boat, which again raised its center of gravity, and you know, that combined with the additional cargo just caused it to tip, to start capsizing. So man, it's this is such a horrible case, because I'm just remembering, like, I watched so many documentary videos before this live stream. I watched so many documentary videos, so many, like, summaries, so many videos just summarizing the whole case, and so many videos from the site, and it was just terrible. So in the early hours of April 16th, by the way, the background behind me is also Sewol, but that is after, like, months after it was actually you know, just transported back, like, just kind of lifted from the water and transported back to the port. So this is, like, after it's sunk. So in the early hours of April 16th, 2014, the Sewol began to list heavily to, well, I mean, okay, it just began to topple, like, tip. I'm just looking for the right word. So it began to tip heavily to one side. And despite the crew's attempts to correct the imbalance, the situation quickly deteriorated. They couldn't really even it out, because again, the center of gravity was lifted. There was this additional cargo. There was just nothing they could do. So panic spread among the passengers. Like, at first it wasn't that serious, right? Again, at first when you see the videos, they are kind of making jokes. They're kind of saying, like, oh, is it really sinking? Are we gonna be okay? But okay, you know, like, this can't be serious. But yeah, let's stay in place. Let's put on our life jackets and let's just stay, right? So, you know, soon after, there was panic that started spreading among the passengers as the ship tilted further, making evacuation extremely challenging. But at the end, like at the beginning, sorry, not at the end, at the beginning, it wasn't impossible. Like in the early stages of the disaster, they could have escaped. Compounding the chaos was the fact that the crew initially instructed passengers again to remain in the cabins, remain where they are, and that further delayed the evacuation process, and that just was a huge mistake. So here's the really fucked up part. In the videos, you can hear this announcement again, like I mentioned it. The announcement that was telling students and passengers to just stay where they are, stay put on your life jackets, and don't move from your location because it is dangerous to move around the ship, while the crew is trying to even it out, while the crew is trying to decide on the next step. And this is actually a second video that I could find with the students talking about, you know, like the ship, the situation, and you can hear the announcement in the background. So this is that video.
야, 미쳤나봐.
이런 상황에서 막 그러지 않냐? 안전하니까 가만히 있으라고.
그런 거 줄이는 거야. 줄이게 나오고.
영국 왜다 그러잖아. 그 지하철도 그렇잖아. 안전하니까 좀만 있어달라고 했는데 지하철 무서운데.
우리 진짜로 이만큼 기운 거야. 진짜야 이거.
다른 사람들은 살고
Yeah, so as you can see, like the girl in the video, one of the girls in the video, that she says like at the end, oh, they usually like they tell you stay put, everything's gonna be okay, stay put, stay where you are, but in the end, people who didn't follow the order survived. And actually that was so true in this case. That proved to be true in this case. So the announcement also said again, like stay put, hold to the pillars, don't move, just get your life jacket, stay where you are, right? But the announcement was wrong because, and there's also a rumor that some of this announcement was apparently later like an automatic recording that was just playing over and over again, because by 9:46 a.m. there were no more crew members on the ship. The captain and his crew had already evacuated. And there's a video at 9:46, 9:47, there's a video that was recorded by the Coast Guard, which shows the captain and his crew leaving the ship, leaving the students behind. Yeah, so this was the captain and his crew members, and apparently only 3 of the crew members, you know, they defied the order. They refused the captain's order to evacuate, and they stayed behind to help the students, you know, to help the passengers to get out. And the sad part is that those 3 crew members would all perish while helping others. They did not get out. They, you know, they tried to help as many people as they could, and in the end, they themselves couldn't get out of the boat in time. So many articles, that this is such a fucked up part, but many, what the fuck, wait, I'm just reading the chat too. What the fuck, the hell, freaking coward scumbags, you get the passengers off first, tell me they got what they deserved. They did. Like in the end, the crew and the captain, yes, they did. They were obviously like you know, charged, but it doesn't make up for how many lives were lost, and I'm gonna get to that. So another fucked up part was that many articles in South Korea at the time, they said that Coast Guard, the South Korean Coast Guard, and nearby, you know, civilian vessels rushed to the scene upon receiving distress calls from the sinking ferry. It said that the helicopters and divers were deployed to assist in the rescue operation, but that's not true. That's not entirely true. Also, Shai, thank you so much for the super chat. This is almost the exact same thing that happened in the Costa Concordia cruise ship. Oh yeah, I remember that. Captain Francesco. I'm sorry, I don't know how to read it. Francesco Schettino. I apologize if I mispronounced it. Abandoned ship. This is so fucked up. Yes, the crew leaves last. Yes, it's messed. Yeah, like it's most likely that you are at a higher risk if you're part of the crew. If you are the captain, yes, you leave the ship last, which means it might, you might be at a higher, greater danger of not making it out. But I'm sorry, like that's your responsibility. So again, many articles in South Korea, like the media at the time, they said that, oh, there are helicopters, there are divers, the Coast Guard is, has been deployed to assist the rescue operation, but that wasn't true. There were a lot of 911 calls from aboard the ferry between 8:52 and 9:30 a.m. And some of the calls were from the students themselves calling for help because the boat clearly started to capsize, clearly started to tilt. The crew of the Sewol also called the operating company to report the situation, but nothing was done. As in, for some reason, the message was being just passed around as if it was not an emergency. Like at first, if you listen to those, I'm not gonna play those calls because I don't have all of them, but like there's a lot of calls between the MV Sewol and the company and then the Coast Guard, and then it just doesn't sound like they are treating this as an emergency. They're like, oh, is it tilting? Oh yeah, it's tilting a little bit. Ah, I see. Okay, well, we'll see. We'll monitor the situation. We'll see. Can you send us a video? And I'm gonna get to the videos too. Well, those requests for the videos, because that's another part that's so messed up. So nothing was done. As in, like, for some reason, again, yeah, like the message was like passed around. They were just dismissing it. No one wanted to take responsibility. And yes, the Coast Guard and helicopters eventually arrive, but they weren't doing anything. They were not fully like stepping in to rescue any passengers. They did rescue some passengers that were on the deck, like as in outside, right? Like they were already outside. They were trying to like get out, like after the captain, but they weren't really going in, like inside the boat. That wasn't really like, it wasn't tilted yet. Like, yeah, it was tilting, but it wasn't sunk. It wasn't sinking yet. So, they didn't go in, even though the weather conditions were perfect for a rescue operation. And later it was like they were reporting that, oh, the weather conditions were not good. The currents were super strong, which was a lie. So apparently the message about the boat capsizing got all the way to the Blue House, which is Korea's White House, all the way to the president. But it was like the president's office, but it was essentially downplayed, disregarded. The president was nowhere to be found for the next 7 hours. 7 hours. Along with like other high ranking officials like the prime minister, they were gone. They were MIA. Apparently the president just spent the whole day in her bedroom. Like, it's not like she was having like later it came out, it's not like she was having any meetings. No, she wasn't like having meetings. She wasn't working. Apparently, like, she just spent it in her apartment and like in her rooms, in her bedroom all day. And she was not informed, like, as in the official information was that, oh, she wasn't informed about the importance, the seriousness, the gravity of the situation. But I don't think so. I think she was just hiding. Like, so many people think that she was just hiding because the initial response was just too late and she fucked up and she just didn't want to take responsibility. So at this point, at this point, the students started calling their families, started texting their families, informing them of what is happening and telling their loved ones that they love them and they miss them and they don't know if they're gonna get out of this alive. Mind you, at the same time, news reports started rolling into, like in the Korean news media. And you know what they said? They said that yes, the boat started tilting, the boat capsized, but all passengers were rescued by the Coast Guard. All passengers are safe. No one was rescued at that time. There was no, like, aside from aside from the captain, the crew, no one was rescued at that time. And like the first one to, he was the first one to be rescued, and the captain and his crew at 9:46, 9:47. But all the other 476 passengers were still told to just stay put in their cabins, just wear their jackets and just stay where they are while the boat was sinking. And then the news started changing. Like, it started changing the story. Suddenly, they said, oh, most of the passengers were rescued. And then they started saying, 200 passengers were rescued. And then it dropped to 170 passengers or 150 passengers were rescued. What does that mean? What does it mean? Like, what? Like, suddenly, what? You unrescued someone? Like, you just put them back in? Like, the Coast Guard just put the other passengers back in? Like, suddenly it was 200 passengers. Oh, no, wait. We put 30 of them back on the boat, or 50 of them back on the boat, and just unrescued them because for some reason they just, whatever. I mean, this was obviously a lie. The news was lying. The Coast Guard was not doing anything. The Coast Guard was lying that there's like I think there's a call between the Coast Guard and someone else, like some official, and they're saying, oh, no one is on the deck. And the official is asking, like, oh, no one is on the ship, no one is on the boat. And the Coast Guard says, like, from the helicopter or from the boat, I don't remember which one was it, but the Coast Guard says, like, yeah, no one is on the boat. But so far, the only ones that they saved were the captain and the crew. So, like, how is no one on the boat? Where are the 476 passengers? What, they disappeared? So this is also fucked up part. So, like, the Coast Guard is informed. They are there. They are at the scene. They are seeing what's happening. And actually, the initial rescuers were only, like, civilian fishermen and just people from the nearby island who had boats. And they themselves volunteered. They just came, the fishermen, the civilians, they came to the site and they were trying to help the students. So they were actually taking the passengers into their boats, which weren't like equipped for anyone, like for rescuing people. Those were just like fishing boats, and those were like just normal small boats, and they were just taking people from that boat, even though it was dangerous, because when the boat is like like a ferry as big as this is tilting, it is very dangerous. Man, it pisses me off so much. This story is just, what the fuck. Yeah, so I'm sorry. I just like, I'm gonna be taking pauses because okay. And I'll be showing, obviously, like I've been showing the slides, but I'll be showing more of those like messages from the students and to their parents, and it's horrible. So at one point, there's even a recording from the Coast Guard helicopter where the pilot or someone is on the phone with a government official telling them about the situation, that the boat had, you know, tilted, that it's sinking, that people are trapped, and the government official responds with like, can you send us a video? Do you have a video? Do we have a live video? And the person on the phone is like, no, not yet. Not yet. And the official says like something like, oh, okay, I understand. Well, call me back when you have a video. Just send it to me to the like to my cell phone or something. How is that important? Like, the Coast Guard is telling you, this person, I'm not like blaming the individual Coast Guards for the tragedy, for the lack of response, but yeah, they were kind of like passing the responsibility, or rather they were waiting for orders from the top, and they were just not getting those, or the top was not getting, like, actually making decisions. They were not doing anything. So, the politician is just like, oh, send us a video, as if, like, dude, I'm telling you, yes, the ship is sinking, the ship is like on the side, people are there, and they're like, no, but send us a video, or like what? Because otherwise it didn't happen? Like, just send me a video because I don't believe you? Like, we'll send you the video, but can you take action in the meantime and give us an okay to rescue them? No, send the video first. That's essentially, like, that's the gist of that call. They were saying, oh, the official was kind of like on the phone. I think it was like from from the president's office. The guy was saying like, oh, well, we're afraid that it's gonna leak. But it's just like, is that important right now? I think even if it leaks, like, oh, it's gonna be clear that, hey, we were doing something. We were trying to save them. And it's just like, they were just not trying to do anything. And this is by now, this is like 10:15 a.m. The ship started sinking at 8:52, I believe. So it's been an hour. It's been over an hour. Jesus, okay. Why did they need a video? I have no idea. Like, you can see, yes, there are like news reports, but like if the situation sounds serious, if the Coast Guard is reporting to you, hey, the ship is sinking, we can see it sinking, we are, we have several units there looking at it right now. I'm looking at it right now. It's sinking. Why do you need the video? Like, you don't need it. There was also the fact, oh, this is so messed up. This is so messed up. This other thing is so messed up because I don't understand. I don't think any of the video, like whatever video about this case I was watching, the authors of the video, the people who were talking in the video, right? Like the host, none of them could understand why this next thing happened. So apparently at the same time when this call is happening and the initial like emergency calls came in, so between 8:50 and 9:30 or at least 10, there was a US Navy ship with 1,000 Marines that was passing by in this vicinity, and this US Navy ship contacts the South Korean Coast Guard, and because they saw this ship, right, this boat capsizing, and they actually offered to help. They were like, hey, we have people, we have equipment, we are trained for this. We can help you guys right now. Like, if you need us to, like, we have 1,000 people, we can just absolutely help you guys to get the passengers to safety. And the Coast Guard and Korean officials said no. They turned down the offer. They basically said, no, we're just waiting for the video. We're okay. We'll step in eventually, but like, thanks for asking, but we're gonna take it from here. We're gonna eventually take it from here. So the ship took 2.5 hours to sink. It sank pretty much completely at around 1:03 p.m. And at no point during that time had the Coast Guard stepped in to rescue the passengers. None of them. All the videos of the passengers being saved are pretty much, well, at the beginning, yes, the Coast Guard saved the captain and the crew. But later, all the videos, like during the day saving the passengers, those are just civilian fishermen, civilians with boats, just getting the passengers out of the ship. Mind you, the ship, I don't know if you guys can see it. Wait, let me see if I have a... Oh yeah, okay. I have a picture. So this is a picture. This is the picture that I showed at the beginning, right? There's a helicopter, there's one boat. Like, this is apparently like the Coast Guard, but just like patrolling the ship, doing nothing. If you can see, like, there's this... Okay, I don't know if I can point it, but... Oh yeah, I can point it. Okay, point to it. So, do you see this part? Those are lifeboats. They are lifeboats. They were not released to the water. They were not dispatched to the water. No, never. They just sunk with the ship. No one took it because the crew was gone. The crew's gone. There's no one to actually, like, no one that knows how to operate these. Well, yeah, there were like 3 crew members, but they were trying to get the people, right? They were just going around on the ship, like, to all the cabins and telling people to get out. Yeah, these were lifeboats. They were just left there and they just sank. Crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely, oh my god. It was so bad. It was so horrible. So again, you know, the ship is sinking. The ship sank at 103. It was like still sticking out. This is essentially that time. This much was sticking out of the water, and the Coast Guard didn't step in. At no point did they step in. So there are multiple videos of distressed parents arriving at the nearest island to the sinking side, and those people are furious. They are furious, and it's obviously why, like, it's obvious why they are furious, because nothing is being done. But the reason, especially, like, there's one specific reason why they were so furious, because there's this, you know, there's this room with a whiteboard, and there's a long list of names. I don't know if this is that scene, if this is the hall, or there was like another picture with a whiteboard, but there's a whiteboard with a long list of names, supposedly of the rescued passengers, but most of them are not there. That's a lie. The list is just like made up. They just wrote down the names of like known passengers, and they just, oh yeah, we rescued those people. But that's complete lie. And there's this one woman, oh my god, I can't, like, I didn't download that video because I could not bring myself to watch it again, but there's this one woman who takes the microphone and she starts screaming into the microphone. She starts screaming something like, I can see my little sister's name on this wall, but she's not here. Where is she? You said she was rescued. Where is she? She's not here. She's still on the boat. They really can't stop bullshit up. Yeah. At some point, you have to say, screw orders and the law and rescue your fellow man. Yeah, I mean, same for the passengers. Honestly, like, they trusted the, you know, the higher ups decision, right? Like the crew's decision to, like, oh, you know, stay put, just put on your life jacket, stay where you are, right? Like, students just followed, they followed the instructions. And honestly, they shouldn't have. They should have, which is no fault of their own, right? Like, they shouldn't have listened. But it's like fucked up part that they just listened. They trusted the crew. They trusted their teachers. They trusted everyone. Well, the teachers were also very confused because they are like, well, I mean, the crew says so, and they are professionals. I'm sorry, I need to take a moment. Fuck yes, I finally, hey, Draken Ghost 69. Thank you so much for tuning in. I fucking cannot too. Yeah, this, oh my god. So yeah, like, you know, this woman is screaming, and she's not the only one. There's multiple parents, there's multiple people just coming in, and they are grabbing the microphone and they are screaming at the Coast Guard. They are screaming like, why aren't you doing anything? Do something. Why aren't you diving in there to save them? And where is my daughter? Where is my sister? Where is my brother? Where's my son? They're all screaming like, his name or her name is on that board. Why, supposedly they were rescued, why aren't they here? Some parents, oh god, this is such a horrible part, but some parents and family, they were literally, they started like waiting. They went to the coast. They were waiting on the coast of the island, like the closest island to the sinking side. They are like standing there in the cold because it was cold. It was still cold. April, it's still cold. And they were waiting for their loved ones. Some parents were, I mean, they were crying. You know, a lot of parents were crying. They were panicked. Some parents were so desperate and distraught by this whole situation that they wanted to jump into the water themselves. They wanted to take their own life because they were like, I'm gonna follow my daughter. I'm gonna follow my son. Like, how can I wait here when they are cold? They are out there. They are in the water. How can I be standing here in safety when they are scared? And they were just, yeah, like there's a lot of videos just showing them. And they're, you know what's the fucked up part? Like, another fucked up part, because there's so many, but those videos, I'm sorry, like my voice is shaking, but those videos are showing coast guards lined up on the coast, preventing people from going in, not even like jumping in, but like even going on the boats to, you know, getting in the boats to actually go to the site. They're actually like preventing them from doing so, and they're like, well, we have it under control, we're rescuing them, and the parents are like, you're not doing anything. There's nothing you're doing. Like, nothing is being done. Like, you're just lying. Every step of the way, you're bringing us information that is just lie. Never underestimate what a parent will do for their children, no matter the risk. Yeah, I mean, they were trying so hard, but man, there was just nothing they could do. So at around 2:42 p.m., 150 Special Forces personnel from the Republic of Korea Army Special Warfare Command, including scuba divers, were sent to the side. And it sounds good. It sounds great. Like, oh, you know, we're sending all those professionals. We're sending 150 Special Forces personnel. Your children, the passengers, your loved ones are gonna be safe. We're gonna rescue them, right? It sounds great. But there are multiple reports by the scuba diver volunteers, because a lot of them were volunteers. They just like, okay, well, you guys don't have the orders. You can't get into the water, but like, I'm gonna volunteer. I'm gonna go there, and I wanna save people. So there were a lot of divers that just volunteered. I'm sorry, my voice is breaking up. So there were a lot of divers that volunteered. They got on the ship, of the Coast Guard ship, right, or you know, the person, like the warfare command ship or something. They got there, and apparently they were just floored because nothing was being done. They were told not to do anything and not to go into the water. They were just kind of one of the divers, like I remember this from another video. Apparently one of the divers, like anonymously interviewed, he said like, oh yeah, I got on that ship, on the rescue operation ship, and they were just introducing me to people. They were like, oh, this is my first officer, this is the captain, this is whatever his name is, like, oh, oh, they're gonna be serving ramen in a minute, they're gonna be serving food in a minute, just make yourself comfortable. Like, oh, how long have you been doing this? Oh, okay, that's interesting. Oh, my cousin does it too. My cousin is a diver too. Like, nonsense. They were just being walked around, introduced around, and just the people were like, you know, like the people in charge were just saying nonsense. And apparently, like, this diver just witnessed the commanders, like decorated commanders, just sitting, like commanding officers that are, you know, the higher ups, the highest of the highest. They were just sitting busy, like sitting in a conference room or on the ship, like the bridge. They were just eating. Like literally just sitting around eating. That's it. And then 5 minutes later, they went out to do a press conference, and they were saying like, yeah, we're doing whatever we can. We're doing everything that, you know, that we can. They were doing nothing. They were just introducing people like, oh, this is someone, this is that, what's his name? Jose, thank you so much for the super chat. It's okay, take your time if you need a moment. Yeah, I think I need... Yeah, that's why I'm pausing and I'm just like breathing, because this was so horrible. This was so horrible. And this is, by the way, this is hours after the boat had sank completely. Apparently this was around like 5 p.m. 5 or I don't know, like it was a whole day. It was a full day. A full day had passed. Hours after the boat had pretty much sank. They are underwater. The students are underwater. Most of them probably died by now. But there's still a chance. Because there are like air pockets. They still have like, this is time is running out. And they're doing nothing. They're just eating ramen. Joshua, thank you so much for the super. Yeah, take a break if you need it, Sona. Thank you. Did they want them to die? Well, I mean, apparently. It reminds me of the Japan government response to the Fukushima reactor disaster. Oh yeah, that was... Yeah, it was very similar. Honestly, you can't blame just one person, but multiple terrible leadership and effort. Absolutely. It was such a failure from the politicians, from the president, from the prime minister, from Coast Guard, from like commanding officers. There were zero. There was like zero done. Nothing was done. And again, it's like hours after the boat had already sank, pretty much. Like, oh, there's just like a tip sticking out of the water. And then at, I believe, 10:03 p.m. This is a little bit earlier, a picture from a little earlier, but it's like around maybe 5-6 p.m. But later around 10:03 p.m. And this is already, see, like, it's earlier in the day, right? Like probably 5 or 6 p.m. There's only a tip of that boat sticking out. People are there. Hundreds of people are still on that boat. So at 10:03 p.m. it was announced that the Coast Guard and naval unit are gonna step in. That's when they announced it. That is a full day. That is hours after the first, that's 12 hours. More than 12 hours after the first call for help from Sewol. And mind you, it was just an announcement that, oh, you know, the Coast Guard and the naval unit are gonna step in. Except they didn't. Like, not really. It is said that in an incident like this, if you're trapped in a capsized boat, even if it's fully underwater, like, you know, like this picture that I show you, there still might be air pockets. So there might still be some survivors left, and they have in those air pockets, they have about 72 hours left. And this is the last moment you can do something. This is time, the clock is ticking. You can still do something, you can still save people, but you have to act now. That's the moment when all divers should be down there. And it should be all hands on deck. You know, like everyone should be in that water, should be diving to save people. No one was. None of them were. Nothing was done. Still, it's 10 p.m. Nothing was done. Officials were explaining that it's because of the waves and unfavorable conditions. They said like at 10:50, I think at 10:50, at around 10:50 p.m., they said like, oh, we have to survey the area first and check because the currents are strong and, you know, oh, the weather is not good. But there are videos of the site at the very same time, so like 10:30, 10:50 p.m., and the water is as calm as a lake. Like that's how it was described. It's as calm as a lake. It's like perfect conditions to start diving, to start saving people. And mind you, like the site is pretty dark. Like there's only maybe like 1 or 2 boats around the sinking Sewol. This site, the whole site should be like lit up like a Christmas tree with like all those boats, like all the naval ships, all those 150 personnel, and units and you know, like naval units. It should be lit up like freaking Times Square on New Year's Eve. But it's so dark. Like if you watch some of those videos, it's so dark. There's no one there. I'm sorry, I have to like take a moment because it's horrible. Navy are trained to help no matter the conditions. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's another thing. Like people are like, we don't understand. You know, parents are, you know, civilians' parents are allowed there. There's like one moment, I think there was like one moment at the same time when, you know, because parents are allowed on boats to kind of go there to the site and observe. And, you know, like they are like, why aren't you diving? Why is no one in the water? Why is no one doing anything? And apparently there was one situation where the parent was told, well, you can, you know, if you volunteer, if you know how to, like you can go. Like we can't step in without an order, but you can go. So essentially, like, oh, you wanna save, you want your kid to be safe, like you can go yourself. You can save them yourself. It's horrible. Horrible. And wow, fucked up. I can't. Jesus. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, I just have to like take a moment. Feels like it was more of a personal experience from your side, just a feeling. I mean, it wasn't. Like, I was a complete, right? Like, I never experienced this. I wasn't there, but it just feels so bad. Like, I mean, trust me, if you watch those videos, if you watch, like, the videos from the news reports and the videos from the parents and the reactions of the parents and just, like, those hours when the boat was sinking and nothing is being done, like, you're gonna feel the same. So tragically, the majority of the passengers on board of the Sewol were unable to escape. Of the 476 people aboard, only 172 were rescued, leaving 304 confirmed dead. The victims included many high school students, because majority of them were high school students on, you know, who were on a field trip, as well as teachers and other passengers. Later, more deaths occurred. Actually, 2 rescue divers and 5 emergency workers also died. A lot of them were volunteers. And to this day, 5 more people from the ferry remain missing. Mind you, like, a lot of the divers, again, they were volunteers. They just volunteered to help people. A lot of the divers, like, yeah, like some of the divers died. Some of them sustained brain injury from, you know, because they were going down there all the time to later to get the bodies. In the months following the tragedy, they were getting the bodies out. I remember, I think in one of the videos, someone like one of the videos was saying there was this diver who was, you know, there all the time, every day. He was diving to get the bodies out, and they were getting them out with their, he was saying, like, yeah, I was carrying them out with my bare hands, and after that I couldn't touch my family anymore. I couldn't touch my wife, I couldn't touch my kids. The feeling of skin just repulsed me so bad because of the nightmare, because I just remembered all those bodies that I carried out of that boat, of that sunk boat. And he couldn't bear it. And then another one, I think he also sustained injuries. He couldn't dive anymore because of, like, brain injury, because of how much time he spent down there. And he was also haunted by nightmares of all the bodies that he carried out of that boat. And several years after the sinking of Sewol, he actually committed suicide. He took his own life because he couldn't bear it anymore. He had nightmares. He was reliving that tragedy every single day. And he just couldn't. And he was just, you know, like, all of them, the divers were just saying, like, we were living through this nightmare and we were not given help. And also they were, some of them, when some of the divers died during, you know, the rescue operation or the retrieving of the bodies operation, later the others were charged with negligence. Yeah, volunteer divers. The government later charged them with, like, negligence because some of the divers died. And those same divers, the volunteers who were not part of the official Coast Guard, but they were there to help, they had to go to court to defend themselves. They had to say, hey, like, you know, I was there as a volunteer. No one was helping us. We had to, you know, we were there just to help people, to help the families get their loved ones back. It's horrible. And, you know, the loss of so many young lives, including the divers, including the volunteers. It was a shock. It was a huge shock to the nation. It sparked grief. It sparked rage because people were so angry. They couldn't believe that the government did nothing. They couldn't believe how little was done in this case. I mean, the sinking of the Sewol ferry, it sparked this, intense scrutiny of South Korea's safety regulations, emergency response procedures, which were close to none, and this fucked up corporate practices that passing on this responsibility to someone else, which I mean in this case they were pretty much not the rescue response procedure, emergency response procedures, rescue procedures. There were none. Investigations revealed a litany of failures and negligence. There were lax safety inspections. There were improper crew training. Apparently the crew of Sewol, they were not trained. They weren't trained in emergency situations. Apparently they were just told, when they were hired, they were told to pay a couple of dollars or something for a certificate that you've gone through, you've finished, you've completed the safety training. They never did. They were just told it's okay, we're gonna hire you anyway, you don't need that, we're just, you can just pay for the certificate and it's fine. So there was definitely improper crew training. There was overloading of cargo that wasn't secured. There were definitely inadequate emergency responses. That was zero. Jesus. So I'm sorry for stopping so many times, but I just have to collect my thoughts. So there's this another problem, I think, was this deeply rooted in that's deeply rooted in South Korean society, is this collusion between businesses and regulators, and there's this culture of submitting to authority that discouraged questioning or challenging decisions. So no one was challenging poor decisions, very bad decisions, right? or no response. No one was challenging that. And the students also, which the students were completely innocent, right? The teachers completely innocent. They were just awaiting instructions, right? They were following instructions. They were awaiting further instructions. They weren't questioning authority, right? But that caused them to lose their lives because they trusted the authority. Also, yeah, passing on the responsibility because no one wanted to be blamed if something goes wrong. Well, it did go wrong. It went horrible. 300 lives were lost, 304, plus the 5 that are missing. So the disaster led to a wave of public anger and demands for accountability. The owner of the ferry company, along with several crew members, the captain, everyone who escaped and left the passengers behind, they faced criminal charges related to negligence and misconduct. The captain, I think I saw an interview with the captain, and he was just, yeah, he just said yeah, I was scared. I thought the Coast Guard would help. I failed, and I don't know, it was a non-explanation. It was just yeah, you were saving your own ass. You were not supposed to leave the passengers. Why did you give that order? And just horrible. So the South Korean government also came under fire for its handling or lack of handling of the rescue operation and failure to prevent the disaster. And then the president at the time, which is Park Geun-hye, I don't know how to pronounce it, honestly, that bitch, I don't care. She actually got impeached for her failure to respond to the ongoing tragedy. And again, I think I said it before, but that day she was missing for 7 hours. Apparently she just spent the whole morning in her bedroom, and she had zero understanding of the situation. She didn't even know that it was like, she didn't even think that it was that serious. She arrived later, but it's not like, oh, she didn't know, she wasn't at fault because she didn't know what the situation was. No, because later she arrived at the site and she saw that the ship is sinking, and she did nothing. She just like kind of like, oh, you know, patted some, you know, she just talked to some officials, she just patted them on the shoulder and like, yeah, okay, yeah, you know, just, we're not doing anything, but yeah, let me just pose for the cameras. And that's like much later. She arrived like the next day or some, I don't even fucking know, but she arrived like the next day. Before her, like, she wouldn't show up. She was just like not showing up at the site. And before her, the prime minister came to the site, came to meet the parent, and like there was like a press conference, and mind you, like the parents were kind of up to date on what was happening. They were completely up to date because they were observing this. They were like getting on the boats to go to the sinking site, and actually they had all the information. No one was expecting, none of the officials were expecting that the parents had all the information. They knew everything. So the prime minister shows up and he doesn't know that all the parents, you know, are aware of the situation, of every step, of every negligence that was done, right? Like that, or everything that wasn't done. And he just thought that he would walk in there and just say, you know, oh, we're doing everything we can. And he was expecting the parents to be like, oh, okay, yeah, thank you so much, Prime Minister, for coming over, for visiting the site. We trust you, right? Like that's what he was expecting. Dude, no. He walks in, he comes in, the parents are screaming. They are screaming, they attack him. Physically, they attack him. Like the security has to like surround him and save him from the parents because they are so mad. People are throwing water bottles at him. They were pouring water on him, which is, you know, like kind of symbolic, and is, yeah, I think there was a video of that. I don't have that video, but there was a video of that when people are just ganging up on him, and, you know, the parents are attacking him physically. He is being like, you know, rushed out of the room, out of the area, and, you know, like the security guards are like kind of surrounding him to protect him because people are throwing bottles. They are literally like trying to attack him. I mean, rightfully so, because like, what the fuck? And they are saying like, go there. Like, why are you not doing anything? You should be there. You should be there with the Coast Guard. Or why don't you drown? Yeah, people are like, some of the people are just screaming like, why don't you drown? Go just drown yourself, because like you deserve it. Our children are there and you're not doing anything. You're just here in your like cushy office, or you just show up here to be patted on the back and being like, oh yeah, Prime Minister, thank you for coming. No, like you should be there in the water. You should be standing in that cold water and just know how it is. Horrible. Okay, so in the aftermath of the Sewol sinking, the South Korean government apparently they implemented various reforms aimed at improving maritime safety standards. They were kind of saying like, oh, this was you know, this was a personnel issue. We just didn't have well-trained people. We failed to train them. It's kind of dismissing. It's kind of saying like, well, yes, we fucked up, but we're gonna just blame it on the personnel and not being trained enough. No, they were trained. They just didn't do anything because you told them not to. I mean, I don't think anything can make up for it. I think there was also, mind you, when I talked about the, you know, volunteer divers getting the bodies out of the ship, most of them, as I said, most of them were like volunteer divers. All of them were just going into those volunteers. They were going into like the farthest corners of that boat, the areas that the Coast Guard deemed like, oh, too dangerous, we're not gonna go there, it's too dangerous. And the volunteers were like, fuck it, I wanna make sure that we get everyone out. So what if it's bodies? So what if they're not, like, so what if they're dead? We have to get them. So the volunteers were actually going into those like farthest corners that were very dangerous. That's why like a lot of them also got, you know, brain injury. They got injured or lost their lives because they were going into those dangerous areas, but they didn't care. They were like, we want to help. But the media, so apparently like this bitch, right? The president, she had a tight grip on the South Korean media, and the media were only reporting what she wanted them to report. And while those volunteer divers are getting into those like dangerous areas to get the bodies out, you know what the media is reporting? Oh, it's the Undine or Undine. I don't remember what the company's name was exactly, how to pronounce it, but like, oh, this company that the government hired. That's all them. You know, the Undine company. That's yeah. They are saving the bodies. They are retrieving the bodies. No, that wasn't the case. The company that the government, that was paid off by the government, like they didn't do anything. They actually, well, like they were doing something, but they weren't going like really deep into the you know, to retrieve the bodies. They were just like, oh, that's too dangerous. We're not gonna do that. Like they did nothing. It's all the, you know, all of it was done by the volunteer divers. Wow, shut up. Yeah, no, I mean, I feel this. I just like, when I was listening about when I was reading about the story, listening, you know, to the videos and the sources and just like reports, horrible. Every step of the way, I was just like, shut the fuck up. How can that happen? How can that be allowed? How was that allowed? How was that, you know, how did they let that happen? Sounds like more corpo cover-ups. Yeah. Absolute bull. Like Jesus. I mean, no one, I mean, it's good that she got impeached, the president, and like everyone was charged, but like at the same time, like people who shouldn't have been charged were like charged and like pulled, right? Like the divers, the volunteers, they were like charged with like, oh, negligence and deaths. Like who was negligent? Who was negligent? Those people risked their lives. Some of them lost their lives trying to save those bodies. Even like, yeah, even if the passengers are already dead, they were trying to get them back to their families, and you're charging them with negligence. Who is the negligent one? It's just the first story, yeah, but yeah, it's I mean, it's the first story, but I think this one is the heaviest. I think this was like this is the most, no, never mind, never mind, all of them are infuriating. All of them are gonna be infuriating. And we have 2 more. This is just the first one. This makes me sick to my stomach. Yeah, another one, and mind you, you would think that this is the last time, this is the only time when this much of like horrible negligence was you know, like happened by like the authorities, by Coast Guard or police or Navy or whatever, like the right, like the government. No, it's not the last time, because like if you remember in 2020, was it 2022, 2020? It was like middle of, like right after the pandemic like ended. I think it was like 2022 or 2023. The Halloween disaster, also South Korea, Seoul. If you remember, like the Seoul city. Yeah, horrible. More than 100 people died in the stampede, in the crowd. Again, what a fucking failure. The government failed those people. I'm gonna talk about it in maybe like another video, but Jesus. Yeah, it wasn't the last time. Like that's another example of like gross negligence. Just horrible negligence in protecting people and, you know, preventing mass tragedy from happening. And this is just the first case. Well, I am mad at the lunacy and genuine failure of the government. It was, yeah, like that's actually such a good description. The lunacy and failure of the government. Just, I don't know, baffling. Just I can't even find words to describe like how, like, see, I wasn't even there. I'm like in no way connected to this case, but like reading about this, it just made me, I'm just boiling inside, and I have nothing to do with like South Korea. I'm nothing to do with these people, and I feel for them so much. Like, yeah. That's why my voice was shaking, because I cannot. It was horrible. The Halloween disaster, also horrible. Also so many horrifying videos from the crowd. So many horrible stories, heartbreaking stories from the crowd, from the survivors. There was like a couple of, in this case, there was a couple of teachers and people who saved the students and they died themselves. There was, I think there was like a young teacher, young female teacher. She just like started teaching not too long ago. She was like 20 or something, and she gave up her life jacket to, because mind you, there weren't enough life jackets. Oh, that's another thing that I completely forgot. I forgot about it, but yeah, there weren't enough life jackets. What is this, Titanic? What is this, 1918? 1912, sorry, 1912. I think Titanic happened in 1912. Yeah, there weren't enough life jackets. Lifeboats weren't used. What is going on? And yeah, like this young teacher, like a couple of teachers and those, you know, like the crew members that refused the order, they actually gave up their life jackets to the students, and they, you know, they were, even though the ship was sinking, and I remember like this female teacher, she was, you know, kind of walking around each deck, each floor, even when the floor was like the underwater, so that like the water was reaching to her, like her neck or something, or like her shoulders, she still went in to find the students. She was like, okay, I'm gonna go in and find the students. Some students came out and she never came out, and she was later found like face down. You know, she drowned. Yeah, so this is the first story. I'm sorry, there's like, if this was only the first video, I can't imagine how bad the other two are. Yeah, I mean, the other two are, I would say just as bad, just as horrifying. Okay, so the next video. Yeah, let's move on to the next case, because I cannot, my voice is shaking and I'm, oh, okay. I'm like rubbing my forehead, just trying not to like lose it. Okay, so this is another video. It's a widely circulated video of this kid playing a popular rhythm-based game, Dance Dance Revolution. So take a look. Oh wait, that's the other video, sorry. Okay, sorry, I have a scuff. So this kid, right, like the video is very innocent. The kid is playing DDR, and the person filming the video from across the room is kind of heard making fun of the kid and mocking him, and you know, how he's dancing. So take a look.
Yeah, it does.
Left of us.
Swag.
So this video is actually that of the kid. Well, the kid that's dancing is actually Adam Lanza, and he is the perpetrator of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting on December 14th, 2012 in Newtown, Connecticut, United States. Lanza killed 20 children, all between 6 and 7 years old, as well as 6 adult staff members, before turning the gun on himself. And actually, you guys didn't know about this video? Yeah, the video is of him. He was like seen often at this arcade playing DDR. And if you really like listen to the video, I think at one point you can hear the person who's mocking him, who's filming the video and mocking him, saying something like "fucking Lanza." So if you really listen, I don't know, it's pretty quiet at one point, but yeah, you can kind of hear the person saying "fucking Lanza." So that day, on December 14th, Lanza entered the school armed with firearms that killed 26 people, including, again, 20 children between the ages of 6 and 7, as well as 6 adult staff members, teachers, before taking his own life. And he used weapons from his mother's firearms collection, as she was an avid gun enthusiast. And he actually first murdered his mother at their home and then proceeded to the school where he carried out the horrific act. The tragedy unfolded very rapidly, with teachers and staff members doing their utmost, whatever they could, to protect the children in their care. They were like shielding some children. Some of them died literally like shielding the children. And, you know, from like they were shielding the children from harm. They were trying to help them evacuate to safety. It was a horrible day, you know. It was a tragic day, and in the aftermath of the shooting, there was an outpouring of grief and disbelief. Like, I think there was if I remember correctly, like there was a delayed police response too. They were like not going in. There was another one. Well, Uvalde was very similar, right? Like the police weren't going in. They didn't come on time, or like they did come on time, but then there was like they were waiting around outside for 40 minutes. Like Uvalde was just as bad. But yeah, I mean, obviously people were shocked, people were outraged. There were vigils and memorials in honor of the victims, and, you know, in order to provide support to the grieving community of Newtown. And the incident definitely reignited. This is one of the incidents that reignited the talk about gun control laws in the United States, with, you know, many calls for stricter regulations on firearms to prevent similar tragedies in the future. But we know that, you know, it didn't really help, because then Uvalde happened, and then other tragedies happened, other shootings happened. Like, they just kept happening. So I don't know. So while Adam Lanza's specific motives and mental state remain subject of speculation, because some were saying that he had mental health issues, he was writing some weird stuff, posting some strange stuff on the internet. His history of mental health issues, you know, raised questions about the adequacy of mental health support system and the need for early intervention and treatment, because it didn't seem like there were signals that something was wrong with his mental health, but no one did anything. And it led to a tragedy. This one is short. Like, the last two are shorter because I kind of really wanted to focus on the Sewol sinking tragedy, because I don't know, like I just had so much information about that one. I mean, yeah, this was also another horrifying incident. Like 20 kids, 6 and 7 years old, and 6 teachers, 26 people in one day, just, you know, one moment, and they were gone. And Uvalde wasn't better, because it was also a lot of, what was it, 2019, I think? I actually don't remember. Wait, Uvalde. Was it 2020? Let me see, because I actually don't remember. 22. Sorry, 22. Yeah, so I thought it was like 21, 22. Another one. It was same. And I think Uvalde was like, there was a lot of outrage because of the police response, because they were waiting outside for, I should have talked about it too, but yeah, Uvalde school. There was like a bunch of police officers waiting outside for like 40 minutes to an hour. Meanwhile, the guy was still inside, shooting people, shooting children. And they were just waiting around like, oh, we don't know. Oh, we're afraid, we don't know. Or like, oh, we don't want to risk it. It's like, what? This is your job. That's your job to risk it. Yes, it comes with the job. Damn, I'm sorry. I'm still shaken from I'm still getting over the first one. So this was the second video, and then there's the third video, and it's gonna be a little confusing, but I'm gonna explain.
You know, now they're saying that you're a person of interest now. Yeah. Why would it? Oh, open the door.
So this video was of one Brianna Williams, and the video shows the moment she is informed that she is a suspect in a murder case, in the murder of her own 5-year-old daughter. And she was actually informed, and that this is not a full video, but she was also informed that the police found her 5-year-old daughter's remains. And that's how she reacted. She started vomiting because she was I mean, it seems like, oh, she's shocked. But this is not the case. This is not why. Like, she's not shocked because her daughter is dead. No. She's shocked because they found her. So Brianna contacted the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office on November 6, 2019 to report her daughter missing, and discovered the back door of her Brentwood residence unlocked, right? Like, she says, oh, the door was unlocked. She's gone. Someone took her. Please help me. So obviously, an extensive search operation and investigation, was launched to find this little girl. However, Brianna's cooperation essentially dwindled and was like close to none, as police observed discrepancies in her accounts regarding, the timeline, the crucial timeline details related to her daughter's disappearance. So her story was falling apart. The initial search and investigation for the missing child involved 8 agencies, among them the FBI Jacksonville Division. Later, investigation uncovered some very disturbing facts. In the days leading up to Taylor is the daughter, right? So in the days leading up to Taylor's disappearance, Brianna traveled to a secluded area of Alabama. Like, she had no connections there for some reason, but she traveled there, I don't know, like 3 times. So she briefly stayed in that area of Alabama before immediately returning to Jacksonville. Examinations of Williams's phone records revealed 3 distinct trips to and from Alabama on October 31st, November 1st, and November 2nd. Then a neighbor residing near Taylor and Brianna Williams's, residence at Southside apartment complex informed detectives that he actually observed, months before her disappearance, he would observe Taylor unaccompanied and just wandering the complex on numerous occasions. So according to this neighbor, he, recalled initially encountering Taylor alone on April 17th, 2019? 2019. So April 17th, 2019, he encounters Taylor alone. He proceeded to escort Taylor back to her apartment and instructed her to secure the door. If she's alone, just lock the door, don't go out. The neighbor described the interior of the apartment as cluttered, with trash bags and boxes piled up on top of one another. It was filth. Like, apparently the apartment was filthy. This is not the last such incident, because the same neighbor would encounter Taylor home alone at least every other day. And sometimes it was like for days. Like, he didn't know for sure if she was alone for days, but yeah, she was alone very often. And the same neighbor would, also say that she was wearing the same clothes every time he would see her, like pajamas or something, and she looked like no one was taking care of her. No one was taking care of her hygiene. She was like malnourished. The same neighbor also said that he never saw Brianna's car in the parking lot during those times, so Taylor was alone. The mother was just leaving her completely alone and unsupervised. The girl's grandparents also noted that they haven't seen their granddaughter in over a year by that point. Then, on November 12th, 2019, the police department in Alabama disclosed the discovery of human remains in the vicinity where Williams had traveled and made stops. So that area in Alabama where she traveled 3 times at the end of October, so October 31st, November 1st, and November 2nd. And subsequent forensic analysis definitely identified the remains as Taylor. Sources indicated that the remains were located within 1 or more trash bags. So she might have been dismembered, but that's not confirmed. It's not very clear. Autopsy and forensic analysis confirmed that the remains belonged to Taylor, and her body showed signs of gross neglect. She showed signs of severe illness, even though the illness wasn't specified. She showed signs of malnutrition. Unfortunately, a definitive cause of death couldn't be determined. Medical examiner determined that Taylor died several weeks to several months before her body was found. And her mom was just reporting her as missing. And yeah, like the video that I showed you at the beginning was of this case was when Brianna is being told that she is now a suspect. The police found Taylor's body and she seems fine at first. She seems shocked, but then she starts vomiting and like retching and vomiting and starts showing signs of an apparent overdose. Like then she passed out. She was like dragged out of the car and she was transported to the hospital because apparently she had overdosed on something. I don't know what. I don't exactly know what was the drug. What did she overdose on? And then Brianna was charged with the murder of her 5-year-old daughter and was later sentenced to life in prison, rightfully so, even though it's not, I don't think it's ever gonna make up for that, because she gets to live her life. Even if in prison, she gets to live out her life to the end. Meanwhile, little Taylor was mistreated, malnourished, probably beaten, probably tortured, because like, I don't know, and maybe dismembered. I don't think anything makes up for that. Any form of punishment makes up for that. I think she drank bleach. Oh, was it bleach? I don't know. I couldn't, like, the reports that I was looking at, like, they never mentioned like what exactly was it, but yeah, she got sick and she just like overdosed on something. I don't know. Who cares? Who cares? Good thing she survived, because she gets to like face the charges. And I mean, I guess, yeah, at least she gets to face the punishment and not like, I don't know. No, not bleach, multiple prescription drugs. Yeah, it's, yeah, like I kind of, for some reason, like they never specified what it was, but, yeah, she apparently tried to end her life before being arrested. Interesting. So either prescription drugs or bleach or whatever she took, she was trying to get out of the situation. She was just too much of a chicken to face the charges. Well, didn't work, so she gets to spend the rest of her life in prison. I don't know, hopefully not one of the cushy prisons. Hopefully she doesn't get to live a cushy life. Well, in prison, but still. Alright, that's it. That was the last one. I'm sorry for stopping so many times. I'm sorry for like pausing so many times and just like in my voice shaking, but holy shit. Okay, I'm gonna change the music. Guys, this was... all of those cases are horrible, but I have to say, like, the first case, it was just... It was so bad that I couldn't. I apologize for my voice shaking. I apologize for taking so many breaks and like stopping and the narration not being like smooth or anything. But like I was trying my best, but the first one just gets to me so like every time I see it, every time I hear about it. And the horrifying details and more details about the response or lack of response and the volunteers, the parents, and the students, and yeah. Don't worry, stop as much as needed. This stream was very heavy. It was very, very heavy. I really wanted to talk about this. It ended up kind of taking the majority of the stream, but I think the case was, it was a lot. There was a lot of things to talk about and a lot of details to share. And it's like not even, I didn't share everything. That's not even enough because there's so much more, and there's so many videos. There are so many videos from the side, from the sinking, from the parents, from the students and the calls, the recordings of like calls and messages, and it's just horrible. So I mean, I encourage you guys I encourage you guys to watch some, like, look it up, research it, and watch some more videos. Like if you're up to it, if you feel up to it, then go ahead and like watch it. I think it's important to the story to like watch a lot of those videos. But if you're not feeling up to it, then don't, because it's gonna be heartbreaking. A lot of the videos of like parents waiting and screaming into the microphone and calling and like attacking the officials physically because they couldn't handle it. It was pretty bad. But yeah, you guys, thank you so much for today. I hope it was the stream was informative, and I hope I didn't like scar you for life. I apologize. I'm sorry that I shared this, but I thought it was an important story to share, especially in the light of the 10th anniversary, because I don't think those people will ever get over this and will ever recover from this and will ever forget what happened that day. Yeah, I hope I can also talk about the other tragedy, like the Halloween tragedy, because it's another one that's pretty heavy. We can take it in as educational. Take it in as, like, I think it's a good example of like when not to follow orders. I will never wish that, that you find yourselves in this kind of situation. I hope you will never have to face this kind of situation. But if you do, if you feel like, I don't know, if you are on a boat and it's tilting and they are saying like, oh, stay in place, like stay in deep inside the ship and in the cabin, just don't listen. Honestly, don't listen to them. Honestly, just head over to the deck. At least, yeah, okay, stay on the deck, but like at least stay outside and just make sure that, okay, I will have a chance. I will have a, quick way out. Do not stay like, under the deck. Just don't risk it, like don't take any chances. Just save yourself and save, people, like just prompt people around you to just like get out. Even if you have to drift, yeah, like, okay, the water was cold, but like I think at one point the government officials were, or like the Coast Guard was, they were explaining that, oh, we didn't want, like the people or the captain, I think the captain was explaining, I think it was like an interview with the captain, like press conference, and he was like explaining himself. He said like, oh, I didn't give the order for the people to evacuate because the water was cold and the currents were strong and they were, there was a high risk they would be swept away and drift away. It's like, yeah, but they had some, like a lot of them had life jackets. Yeah, there weren't, to begin with, there weren't enough life jackets, but at least, okay, if they drift away, the Coast Guard was there, or like the boat, the fishermen were coming, they would see those people. Like if you have a life jacket, you would be drifting. I'm pretty sure there was like a better chance of survival than inside the fucking sinking boat. So how about you shut the fuck up, you know? It was heavy. I'm sorry. I apologize that it was so heavy. So yeah, I hope that you never none of us ever find ourselves in this kind of situation. If we do, if you do, if I do, I'm not gonna follow the orders. I'm gonna like make sure that I'm outside, and yeah, like okay, waiting to be rescued, but like outside, and to have like a better chance to survive. Because holy shit. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for today. We have another stream coming up on Patreon. So the next stream is gonna be on Patreon, and I believe, yes, it's gonna be on Saturday. So Saturday, same time, 6 p.m. Pacific time. We will have a true crime case on Patreon. So if you are a Patreon member, you can just write it down. Just save the date. Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. I will try to... I don't think I'm gonna cover the Halloween, the South Korean Halloween disaster. I think I'm gonna save that for another day because I don't think I can handle that much. I mean, does it make a difference? I still cover pretty gruesome cases anytime, so I'm still gonna have nightmares, never mind. And then we have another true crime stream on Sunday here on YouTube. I still have to decide on that case, so I will have to like do some research. I still haven't done research for the Sunday case, so still gotta decide. Okay. Damn, okay. And sometime this week I will also upload a new wallpaper to Patreon. I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna do it today. So like the new way, well, I can't speak anymore. But yeah, like a new wallpaper is coming. So this wallpaper will be available on Patreon sometime this week. I might just like do it today to post it as soon as possible. And yeah, like this one will be available for Platinum, Ruby, and Diamond tiers. So if you are in that tier, you will be able to download the wallpaper. And that is it. Thank you so much for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys found the stream informative. I hope I didn't scar you for life. I'm sorry if I did. And yeah, stay safe out there. Always. Don't always follow orders to a T, because sometimes not following orders will save your life. And bury your hexes, lock your doors and windows. Until the next time. Bye.